You know, I've been a member of this club 20 something years and I've been waiting to have my day and I got it. Couple of things before I get started. I forgot to write down my guest, Brady Moore. He does have an application on the table. So anyway, nice to have him here. Brady is an ex Chris's University Spirit employee for 3 years. So nice to have him to correct me like he did when he was around 15, 20 years ago. Couple of things before I get started. Thank your sponsor. Christy and I have been going around to different clubs, and all I can tell you is thank your sponsor that asked you to be in a Rotary club, because some of the crap we've been through in these others. Hey, I told Kevin we could splash it. We can splice this deal, and now I said Rotary. Thank your Rotary sponsor on a morning, noon, or evening club. Give you a little background. The first couple of weeks ago was our first speaking, and I was nervous. I'm trying to present something I feel strongly about. You don't want to miss things. I met Christy at the restaurant. We walk in and we go to where the club is. And I go, are we at the right day and the right time? And they go, well, yeah, there are 8 people. Okay. I go through the presentation. I think I've done a great job. Anyone having questions? Now, remember, I've been talking about a visitor tax for 15 minutes. Guy raises his hand and goes, you know, Chris, I've been having trouble. I live out east of town. I've been having trouble with my rural water. You think you can help me with that? And I go, well, I think you have confused me with Will Joyce. I mean, it's stunning. It was absolutely stunning. And I told Christy, I said, I've got to get a lot better at this. Because I'm not getting through to anybody. Anyway, true story. But anyway, thank your sponsor that got you in a Rotary club. This is something, I was on the Visit Stillwater board from 1996 to 2002. I spent 3 years of that as the chairman. I came back to that board in 2015. I've spent the last 2.5 years as a chairman. When I came back, you know, we all have goals and aspirations. And one of the things when I was elected chairman was I have felt like that we needed to raise our visitor tax. We had this tax passed in 1985 by a vote of our citizens. It's at 4%. It's been at 4% since. And I thought we should go to a higher number. In the last 6-8 months, I've met with Will Joyce and Norm McNichol, with Christy and some other Visit Stillwater people. And we came up with going to 7%. And I felt like that was a comfortable number that we could live with. We represent, as you're aware, 18 hotels in this city. And we are the marketing arm for those 18 hotels. They do not have to have a marketing person. Visit Stillwater does that. And we have coming online a convention center, hopefully soon. The city has already designated money for that to go to a prospective builder. And we need to be selling Stillwater, and we've got to get people also in that convention center. So I felt like that would be a perfect time for us to go on this quest. I want to be extremely clear that we represent 18 hotels and we represent one convention center, and we do not have any desire to represent any differently that 19th hotel that will be connected to that visitor center. Okay. Now I want to be very clear with that. That to give you a little background, I think back in the 90s, we mostly stayed, we blocked off groups that came here that were recruited. We blocked off hotel rooms for those groups, and they usually were in one location. Nowadays, we still block off groups, but they're in significantly different locations because you'll have a Hilton Rewards or you know, a Marriott reward program that has changed this scope significantly. Now, I'm not a hotelier. Joe Martin is. He knows, he can absolutely tell you more than I can on how these things happen, but that's been my observation. So I want to be clear again that we're not trying to raise a visitor's tax for a hotel that goes next to a convention center. We're trying to bring people here. This convention center could be, in my eyes, in the board of Visit Stillwater's eyes, a real game changer to what we can do. We had worked out an agreement where this increase in tax of 4 to 7% would be split with the city, and Visit Stillwater getting 70% of that, and the city of Stillwater getting 30%. I felt like it was important that you can blame me or praise me, but I felt like it was important that the city of Stillwater have a say in this. And that 30% with our conservative estimates will take us from around 800,000 a year that's totally brought in at 4% to somewhere around 1.3 million at 7%. That 30% going to the city of Stillwater would get in the $350,000 to $400,000 range per year. With that, we do have a tourism committee that met one time, and we met in February of 2020. And our goal was to have an idea of what to do before this happened. There were monies there, and we were trying to figure out ways to raise monies to have more events here, more things here. And then we had one meeting. We were shut down, obviously, like the rest of Stillwater was. So we've met one time. That committee's still in place. It's chaired by Elaine Zanotti. There are 5 other of us on that committee, and that money, that 30%, is designated to go to this committee to be spent on tourism, and that's tourism only. It's not to be spent on a road. It's not to be spent on a construction site. It is to be spent on tourism events only, or tourism facilities only that will bring people here. So again, I want to be clear that we're there on what that is. So that 30% is a tourism committee. And fortunately, we have Joe's son, Ross, on that committee. So we have a hotel representative on that committee at this time. To give you an idea, I didn't ask to raise this tax because of what was around us, but to give you a little bit of an idea, we have Perry, Enid, and Ponca at 8%. We have Sand Springs at 7%. Guthrie will have a vote on April 5th to raise theirs to 7%. So not that that's a reason to raise something, but it gives you a little bit of an idea of where we are as a community. Thank you. I guess that means we've heard enough. And I'll answer your rural water questions here. Anyway, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Okay. And, you know, I'm probably more nervous in front of this group because I know a lot more of you. When I don't know you, you know, I don't mind the real water question because I know when I leave, you don't know who I am and you're not going to call me up and follow up on that. So anyway, why don't we, I can open this up to questions. Yeah. Well, you have to, Robbie, it's an open-ended deal. You know, I'm one of 6 people on that committee. I can tell you the one meeting we had was strongly brought up helping our athletic facilities here. Now, I want to be real clear. I mean, every time we bring something up like that, I say, we're also going to help the arts. I mean, this is not a one-way deal. Now I'm really nervous. I'm by will. No sniper guns in here today. So anyway, that would be that's just a thought.
Yeah. Can I follow up? Just
Yeah.
You talk about the city side. What about the marketing side?
Well, the main thing I think on the marketing is we're going to go from our grant. You know, we give grants to give people here, and that's what Visit Stillwater really is. It's one of our main goals is to give grants to give to groups to come here to see us. Right now, the only place we can go is Payne County Expo Center that has any kind of size. Okay. That's it. But I know where we're going now. Well, I'd forgotten your question. Anyway, getting next to Will just gets me all. No, there's no, we could raise our grant number from 50,000 to 200,000 in a matter of a couple of years. And with that convention center, you're going to be able to recruit, and we're going to need to recruit in the Dallas, Wichita, Kansas City area. We're not looking at just recruiting locally. I mean, we got a heck of a thing to offer here. Now we have an airport. We have Oklahoma State University. We've got a lot of things we can offer that we didn't have 5 to 7 years ago. Does that help? But the 50,000 to 200,000 is a huge, I think is a huge help with what we're able to do. If we, the more money you throw at someone, the easier chance you get to get them. Yeah, Joe? I'm stunned. No,
respectfully, I come at it from a different perspective. I'm no mathematician, but it's not a 3% increase. This is a 75%
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize some of our communities that are at this, most of them at this rate, most of them with less hotel representation. We've made a practice, and I'm very, very supportive of all the activities, obviously, at Visit Stillwater. I wouldn't have served
12 years. Yeah.
And we've made a practice in the past, research these kinds of comparing ourselves to other Mid-12 cities. And if both of the tax proposals that come up with passed, our tax on average 22.3% higher than the average moves for the city. We will be 15% higher than Oklahoma City. You know, our sector, hotel sector, I don't think there's any secret that in the last 24 months, we've gone through the roughest time since we opened our doors. And I'm not asking for sympathy, although I'll take it. But, you know, this hotel just changed hands in the last few months. One of our newest hotels sold out last month for 75% of what it cost to build. 2 are in receivership. So it's been a challenging time for hotels. And certainly, I don't look forward to explaining to someone why our tax rate is what it is compared again to others similar to us. And, you know, I see some of these estimates, you know, on football weekend when we're fortunate enough to be able to raise our rates to a premium rate. You know, tax on a hotel rate is going to be for one night between 45 and 50. That's kind of hard to explain. So, you know, and you know, there are some that could be critical of us raising our rates during football times, but you can't kind of have it both ways. You can't say, well, it's okay to raise the tax, but not rates. And so I'm very concerned in the industry because, like you said, this is a time we need to attract as many people to Stillwater, especially if we add additional hotel inventory environment. I've never known of any industry that are trying to grow it that you increase the tax that you collect. So, you know, a lot of people think, maybe not this group, but a lot of community members think lodging tax is what you pay on hotel, when you pay sales tax too. And so that's what's going to make it so high. And, you know, so my question, you know, that said all that is, you know, is this the right time to increase our tax on one specific industry by 75%? And would our citizens agree to raise any tax they pay?
Okay. Number one, you know, we're all on the same page that our citizens won't pay a cent of this tax unless, you know, you have friends come in and you pay for their hotel rooms. Okay. That's as simple as it gets. Joe brings up a good point. Joe's a smart guy. Joe's a hotelier. I'm not a hotelier. Okay. I mean, we've had discussions. We voted as a board in November to increase this tax. And I'm chairman of the board and I believed in it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm certainly not up here to run Joe Martin out of business or anyone else out of business. You know, that's not the idea. Joe knows much more about a hotel than I would ever think about knowing. I think I know something about selling that I would challenge a lot of people on my knowledge with. So I believe in the tax. I believe it was the right thing. You know, Joe has every right to not think it's the right thing, and you got every right to listen to what he has to say. And you know, he's a smart man. You know, but we had a vote in November. The vote was 9-1, and we proceeded. So anyway.
I was just going to say, so I understand your point, but coming from a completely naive perspective as a parent of a bunch of kids, and you've traveled soccer balls all 3 states now, 4 or 5, and I've never once, when I booked a hotel room, asked what the visitor tax was and refused to pay because of it. And there may be people that there are probably people that do and groups that do, but I feel like Stillwater is such a captive audience. Nobody's not gonna come to an OSU game weekend because of the money on the hotel room. I just heard from.
Well, I'm in your camp, but I've never worked a hotel desk. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. Joe and I had this discussion at a meeting in probably October or September, and I did ask Joe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever been asked before someone called in or checked in or booked a room what your hotel tax is? His answer was no. He said, however, I do hear about it when they leave. Is that an accurate, am I accurate there? Okay. So, you know, full transparency, but go ahead.
This question might be a little bit weird in the fact that I was in, I know we're not going to, not too often long ago, and I talked to somebody that was one of the, they were having this big event. Well, we planned about 10 years ago, we started having events every weekend. We got it down there for another 10. 1,000 people in the strawberry day. That's just one strawberry day. Went out to the lake area and it was full. They were doing strawberries and ice cream and everything. And crazy to do. We every weekend. And we bring in 30 to 40 to 50,000 people every weekend.
Right.
I know we're not New Orleans. I know we're not the weather state and all this. But, you know, it seems like to me that those kind of things bring in a lot of people from those places that they get, get hooked on, like the test fest and stuff.
Right.
It makes sense to me that there would be a plan that would be established, and maybe that would cause this area to become a backup bridge.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. And that convention center, we think is going to help us quite a bit on that, because there just is no significant meeting space in this town other than Payne County Expo Center. Oklahoma State's not a meeting spot. They don't have, I mean, your parking's horrendous. You can just start there and go south. No, just because it's a university. It's not a, you know, it's not a shot on OSU. That's not what they're in the business for. Did I answer your question at all or touch it? I mean, I don't. Right. Oh, I agree 110%, but we've got to be able to broaden out to see what that comprehensive, what's out there. Okay. And we can't broaden out at our current budget. And we cannot have, in my opinion, a convention center build in this town and fail. So that's just, that's an opinion, but that's the Visit Stillwater's board opinion of where we are. We've got a lot of really good things going on. We got Visit Stillwater. We've got what's going on out at Boomer. I mean, these things are significant. Convention center. You start throwing some of these things in, we have a great city to sell, number one. Now, these people come in, as we're all aware, and eat in our restaurants, buy our clothing in our stores. The first time I ever heard about Visit Stillwater was, you know, it's kind of weird. Visit Stillwater doesn't recruit Stillwater people to Stillwater. So you don't hear about it a lot. And when I had the store and it was in the middle of the late 90s, and I noticed on crazy days, this huge influx of high school kids on a crazy days in July. And I don't know what brought it up, but I knew Christy and I said, what, did something go on? She goes, oh yeah, we recruited some group in here. It was an agriculture group. And I went, my God. I mean, it honestly changed my crazy days. And every year I'd call up and go, is that group coming again? Yep. Yep, they are. I mean, and the one time they didn't, we had a mismatch of something, and it was a significant, it's one day, 2 days, but I mean, it was a significant day to what we were doing. So, and that's when I became a big believer in Stillwater, and I was put on the board at that time by the city, and then we changed. There's been some evolution since then that the board has. So, any other questions? I didn't repeat a dang one of those things. I told you I'd choke that. Go ahead.
I have to assume that Visit Stillwater is not-
Well, we have, yeah, our staff is skeleton. We're not like anyone else. I mean, everyone else is doing lower, or a lot of people are having lower staff, but we've gone from 5 to 3. And I don't think we can promote Stillwater sufficiently like we should without getting at least one more person involved in this. And these things that we're thinking about trying to recruit in these areas of Kansas City, Wichita, Dallas, they're going to take someone going to see them. You're not sending an email and having someone go, sure, I'm all in. I mean, you're going to have to go down and sell these things, and these things take time. These things take going to trade shows. I mean, there's a ton of possibilities we can do with this increase in the visitor tax. And, I hope you trust us. There's been a lot of thought done into this, a lot of effort, a lot of discussion, a lot of running numbers. Gunkel got to where he did not want to see me anywhere. Still might feel that way, but it didn't start that way. So, but anyway, any other questions y'all have? Yes. Real water, sewer, they, 80, every one of them are. And we have, and I missed that. I had that in my notes, but we have approximately 80 to 110 Airbnbs, and they do pay that tax. And to give you another idea, another step we took that I think was a significant step a couple of years ago. Number one, we had the city allow Oklahoma Tax Commission to come in and start collecting our tax. That's a big deal. When you're maybe having some troubles remitting your quote pass through of the visitor's tax, an Oklahoma Tax Commission letter tends to get your attention a little more than we might think you're a little behind. We had no enforcement of that collection. And we felt like, number one, the Airbnbs should not be competing against Joe and not paying that. Seriously. And then number two, we had to have a strong arm. When I was on there earlier, my solution was you cut their damn water off at the hotel. And that will get that. I promise you, it'll be paid quickly, but that wasn't, I guess, legal. That damn private sector versus public sector has a little bit of a crossover. It doesn't always work, but that was kind of my solution, was cut the water off and you'll have your check the next day. But anyway, I think with the Oklahoma Tax Commission, we've seen an increase. We do have the Airbnb, which I think was a huge step, and the city of Stillwater allowed that we could collect that tax. And if they're in the city limits, they pay it. Go ahead.
Yeah, what is the feedback loop on, Airbnb and VRBO of if the transaction actually takes place? How do we know that?
You're gonna need to help me on that. I know it, but I'm gonna bumble it up, but go ahead. You know the procedure exactly. I don't.
For those who don't know the structure, he is my boss, so he is right on everything that he has said. Airbnb is done through Airbnb nationally. Oh, hold on. I got in trouble from Kevin. Oop. Airbnb is done solely through Airbnb, and they communicate directly with the Oklahoma Tax Commission. I mean, it's like any other room that a visitor stays in Stillwater. You have to trust that that lodging facility is reporting it.
I think the thing to capture in all of this, is we are not talking about, people, not really depending on what games, things like that are already taking place.
No.
This is a pure discussion to be about margin, about incremental, about growth.
Mhm.
And if we spend all, charge all these taxes and, we have these expenditures, down the road, do whatever we need to do, and we don't see any growth, it's bad. It's only incremental, it's only marginal. And I think Joe has a very good point about the 75% increase. You got to balance that out. And how you balance it is that people don't like, nobody likes paying taxes, but if you see more activity here and merchants are making more, then that's not.
Well, and I hope.
Keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah.
It is more taxes, but more traffic.
Right. Yes.
One of the things that's important is the grants that you give and how that does bring groups to town. And you could probably give us some information on that as to how important it is, because without that, the Expo Center wouldn't be doing all the things that it can do, because these large groups come in and they spend a lot of money in town, and so we have new people in the hotels as well.
Well, you nailed it. I mean, I should have really had you come up here and do this presentation. It's taken me a long time. It's taken me 25 minutes to get to that, but you're spot on. No, the Expo Center is overwhelmed almost weekly through not always grants from us. And I want to be clear on another thing. We give grants. We do not give the same grant the next year. It has to decrease. Okay. And there are many things now that go on, not many, some that they started with a grant. They don't have a grant anymore and they still are coming. Okay. So yeah, James.
Look here and I think perhaps you're missing an opportunity because it says here, hotels are among the largest users of city utilities, therefore increasing overnight stays. That being electricity and water, perhaps you should start working closer with the county and rural water, but all the grow houses are included in the state.
No.
And the increase they've got there, some kind of increase. So I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, but that may be one of the conferences we want to come in.
Yeah.
Your strawberries.
Just, it's a way to wrap it up, James. Any other questions, or I'll be around afterwards too. So I appreciate y'all's time and thank you.